The Collapse of the Soviet Union, a Historical Journey. Welcome to Historium. In this video, we dive into one of the most significant and impactful events of the 20th century, the collapse of the Soviet Union. If you're a history enthusiast and want to learn how this superpower came to an end in 1991, you're in the right place. We'll explore the economic, political, and social reasons behind the collapse. Stay tuned and join us as we experience history up close. The Soviet Union's rise as a global superpower and its subsequent dissolution in 1991 remains a pivotal chapter in the annals of history. This documentary explores the socio-political intricacies, economic challenges, and transformative events that marked the USSR's trajectory, culminating in its collapse. This profound geopolitical shift reshaped global dynamics and remains a subject of historical curiosity and analysis. In the aftermath of World War I and the Russian Civil War, the Soviet Union emerged in 1922 as a federation of multiple republics. Under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin and later Joseph Stalin, it expanded its influence across Eastern Europe and Asia. The USSR's victory in World War II positioned it as one of the two dominant superpowers in the Cold War era. Its complex machinery of centralized governance and planned economy sustained rapid industrial growth, but not without significant cost. Despite its superpower status, the Soviet economy suffered from inherent inefficiencies characteristic of a centrally planned system. This system prioritized heavy industry and military expenditure over consumer goods, leading to consistent shortages and a low standard of living. The sprawling bureaucracy, with its layers of approvals and interference, stifled innovation and productivity. As decades passed, the economy stagnated, unable to adapt to the dynamic and competitive forces of a rapidly globalizing world. The political landscape within the Soviet Union was marred by corruption and authoritarian control. The Communist Party wielded absolute power, fostering an environment where bureaucratic malpractice thrived. Political purges, censorship, and surveillance created a climate of fear, isolating the leadership from the populace. This disconnect fed into systemic corruption, where officials leveraged power for personal gain, further eroding public trust and morale. Enter Mikhail Gorbachev in 1985, whose ascent to leadership heralded a new chapter for the USSR. Recognizing the deep-seated problems afflicting the nation, Gorbachev introduced sweeping reforms to rejuvenate the Soviet system. His policies of Perestroika, economic restructuring, aimed to decentralize economic control, infusing elements of market economics into the state model. Simultaneously, Glasnost, openness, sought to foster transparency, freedom of expression, and access to information. Intended as corrective measures, these reforms inadvertently exposed systemic weaknesses and emboldened calls for change. As Gorbachev's policies relaxed state controls, long-suppressed nationalist sentiments re-emerged across the diverse Soviet republics. Ethnic groups within these regions, each with distinct languages and cultural identities, questioned Russian hegemony. The newfound freedom of expression and press played a crucial role in mobilizing nationalist movements. Reports of repression and demand for greater autonomy echoed across the republics, straining the Federation's unity. Several significant events in the late 20th century intensified the Soviet Union's internal discord. The Chernobyl disaster in 1986 served as a grim testament to the dangers of secrecy, eroding public confidence in Soviet leadership. The calamitous Afghan War further drained economic resources, prolonging a costly military engagement with little to show for victory. Meanwhile, walls within the Eastern Bloc began to crumble, with initial sparks ignited by Poland's solidarity movement, highlighting the untenable nature of Soviet dominance in Eastern Europe. In August 1991, hardline Communist Party members, resistant to Gorbachev's reforms, attempted a coup to reassert control. They placed Gorbachev under house arrest and declared a state of emergency. However, their efforts quickly unraveled. Public resistance, especially in Moscow, showcased a populace unwilling to return to authoritarian rule. Boris Yeltsin, standing defiantly atop a tank, became a symbol of resistance against the coup, garnering support. The failed coup demoralized the Communist Party and accelerated the disintegration of the Soviet Union. Seizing the moment, several Soviet republics declared independence, emboldened by weakened central control. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania led the charge, drawing inspiration from the peaceful Baltic Way protest of 1989. Countries across Eastern Europe, including Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary, swiftly transitioned through movements championing freedom and democracy. These revolutions, mostly non-violent, underscored a shift away from communism, illustrating the unsustainability of an enforced union. By the end of 1991, the Soviet Union formally ceased to exist. The Belozhevo Accords, signed by the Russian, Ukrainian, and Belarusian presidents, dismantled the USSR into independent states, a decision finalized on December 25 when Gorbachev announced his resignation. The hammer and sickle flag lowered over the Kremlin marked an end to an era. These newly sovereign nations faced immediate challenges as they pivoted from a collective communist identity to embracing democracy and capitalism. The dissolution of the Soviet Union sent ripples through the international arena, fundamentally altering global political landscapes. The United States emerged as the sole superpower, heralding a new unipolar world order. The end of the Cold War reduced nuclear tensions and prompted disarmament treaties between former adversaries. In Eastern Europe and other regions formerly under Soviet influence, democracy and market reforms heralded economic growth and democratization efforts, albeit with varying degrees of success. The post-Soviet states embarked on arduous journeys of transformation. Economic upheavals marked their transition from centrally planned economies to market-based systems. Several nations experienced hyperinflation, unemployment, and social strife as they adapted to competitive global markets. Politically, these countries grappled with establishing stable governance, enacting democratic frameworks amid residual corruption and power struggles. Culturally, the quest for a distinct national identity became paramount as former Soviet republics sought to redefine themselves on the global stage. Throughout the documentary, cinematic visuals coupled with AI-generated images dramatize historical moments to engage viewers. By employing muted earth tones with strategic red accents, the visual narrative evokes the period's gravity and Soviet symbolism. B-roll footage and historical stock video enhance the authenticity and depth of the storytelling, while the cinematic style brings key events to vivid life, allowing audiences to immerse themselves into the complex tapestry of the Soviet Union's rise and fall. These visual choices aim to maintain an engaging narrative flow, resonating with the general public and history aficionados alike. The collapse of the Soviet Union stands as a turning point in 20th century history, an epic of change driven by a multitude of political, economic, and social forces. This documentary journey through its turbulent rise and fall invites reflection on the lessons learned from this intense period. The resonance of these transformative events continues to shape geopolitical realities today. As we unroll the past, understanding the impacts of the Soviet Union's dissolution reveals the intricate interplay of power, ideology, and human aspiration. From these lessons, contemporary audiences may draw insights into the challenges and possibilities of governing diverse societies in an ever-evolving global landscape. This documentary is brought to you by our extensive network of historians, visual artists, and archival experts, supported by our branding partners. We express gratitude to contributors for their invaluable perspectives, ensuring that the complexities of this critical historical era are captured with accuracy and thoughtfulness. The collapse of the Soviet Union, while an event of the past, remains a relevant subject of interest, continuing to engage the public's curiosity and encourage historical analysis. Through the lens of this documentary, viewers are invited to explore the enduring legacy of a superpower that left an indelible mark on world history. Thank you for watching Historium. We hope you found this deep dive into the collapse of the Soviet Union insightful and thought-provoking. History is full of incredible stories that shape the world we live in today, and we're here to uncover them. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more in-depth historical content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of history enthusiasts. Don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts on the Soviet Union's fall.